I came to the meeting because I've always been interested in understanding Trotsky, Trotskyism, and how it interprets the events that are happening in the world right now, and the movements that are associated with Trotskyism, how they interpret and think the things should change with how things are in the world right now. What I found most interesting is how the speaker, David North, put together the whole current situation in Palestine with Zionism, and how it really quite nicely links with why Trotsky believed you cannot have revolution in one country. And maybe I can just say one thing that really stuck with me is how he explains it brilliantly, that the countries around Israel and Palestine are also ruled by dictators, and that influences their reaction to the conflict that is going on. So if you start looking at things through systems and not, oh, they are Muslims, why are they not helping their fellow Muslims, you start understanding that you need change across different societies, different countries, and a permanent revolution. I think even with the international response and the protests we've seen, global capitalism is in a crisis. And even the imperial powers, when you see countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, people rising up in their own countries against their own governments. It's because all these things are interlinked. It's not about there's a group of bad people there that are attacking a group of innocent people there. It's this. The webs of connection are now very visible, and that's why the response and the reaction and the protests are international right now. Yeah. Actually, what I learned quite interestingly is how the various other tendencies have always broken away, and sometimes they might sound similar, and it's quite easy to just assume, yeah, we are all saying the same thing, but then when the rubber meets the road, there's always a break between what they are willing to do. And if you look at Trotskyism and how he interprets permanent revolution against thinking proposed by people like Stalin, that kind of thinking is more applicable in the world now, because it's not just about overthrowing like a bad capitalistic bourgeoisie and implementing another layer of authoritarian rule, yeah, but rather leading to permanent revolution that leads to people being empowered. Yeah. I actually found that quite interesting when the speaker talked about the history of Zionism, and even how at one point Zionism and the Nazi movement actually had shared goals and they could work together. And it takes us back to the original national question, where people, an organization that starts as a petty bourgeoisie movement that is very nationalistic eventually leads you to this point, right? Like you end up with an organization that is focused on the certain class of people and not the whole of society, especially if you view that against the Jewish working class movement at the time, and how there would have been possibly an alternative way would have come down in history, right? If that class is the one that took power and not the reactionary Zionist movement. Regular is yes. Like whenever I get notifications, I always find time and read it. However, I've not been a long-time reader because I think I joined it like 6-7 weeks ago. Yeah. So yes and no. Like, have I been a regular reader? I'd say I've been a new regular reader. I really love the meeting, and especially even the questions part of it and seeing different people's perspective. There's something you say that also really stuck with me, that we're entering a decade of revolution, and somehow it feels very fortunate to be living through this time, that we actually are amongst the kind of people who might have the opportunity to make a change in the world we live in. Also, of course, unfortunately, we're also living through a period of immense turmoil, but I think the work is there for us to do, and we just need to get down and do it.